Welcome to another episode of the podcast. Again, we have a video format. Why? Because, well, people liked it. It was well received, and it saves me a bit of editing. Well, not on the first video podcast, but hopefully on this one. We have some new guests in our room, and a recurring guest as well. So we have Missing, we have Mirox, and we have n0dnarb. These are our guests. So 2 new guests to introduce and 1 recurring one. And if you like this podcast, please do subscribe and please follow us on SoundCloud. And with that, I would like to start. And we're going to sit down and have a little chat with our friends in our virtual space. Welcome to the podcast. This time around, we have 2 new guests. We have Miroxyde and we have n0dnarb, who are new to the podcast. We have 1 recurring guest, which is Missing. And we already know a bit about him in episode 6, if I recall. Or 7. I think it was 7. I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't matter. So, I don't remember. It's fine. So we are going to start by introducing our guests, starting from right to left, which is Mirox. Could you please introduce yourself?
I'm Miroxyde. Don't do much. Big rhythm gamer of mostly a semi-obscure rhythm game that most people have not heard about, being named Soundvoltex. And I am obsessed with bunnies and the color purple.
Well, where are you from? What is your age? What do you do for occupation? Are you still in school? Those kind of basic questions.
Where I'm from, the worst parts of Canada, Quebec. I hate it. Horrible. 22, soon to be 23 in 2 months and 4 days. Occupation, I work at a factory making seals, like for fresh peanut butter. Like you open a new fresh peanut butter, there's a seal on it. We make those for various company and items.
Well, that's good. I think that's a good little small intro. Then the same question is for you, n0dnarb. If you could please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is n0dnarb. You probably never heard of me. That's okay. I'm just your average VR chat user. I don't always do VR chat. I like playing card games as well as like Need for Speed and Assetto Corsa. That's usually what I do in my free time, anyways. But yeah, if you want to get to know me, feel free to
send a DM.
Maybe, but I would rather at least get to know you first, whether it be through one of my friends here, either one of the 3 people here that I know, or you message me in like a random Discord group, general chat if you want to.
All right. Well, we're not going to plug our socials in this one. At least I don't think we are. This is not a social plugging thing. We're not here all for the fame. And then maybe just for the people that have not listened to the previous podcast, Missing, do a short introduction of yourself.
Well, hello, I'm Missing though. I do computer stuff. I talk about computer stuff. I spend a lot of my time talking about computer stuff and also doing computer stuff.
Being behind a computer?
When I'm not doing that, I also sometimes play VR chat. Also behind a computer, yeah, exactly. I mean, when I'm not doing exclusively computer stuff, I also play a few rhythm games and really just whatever interests me, which is mostly rhythm games. But yeah, that's it.
Well, it seems to be a common interest, I think, among everyone here is rhythm games. I'm not sure about you, n0d.
Would you count Metal Hellsinger as a rhythm game?
I'd say if that's your only rhythm game, it would be
pretty much. Quite. Not Friday Night Funkin', by the way.
Well, I guess not then. So, well, we have most people here that like rhythm games.
It could count. It's just not a traditional rhythm game.
Yeah. I think like a traditional one would be like Osu or there's a lot of like games also on phones now that do rhythm games. So with that, I would like to ask you guys the question, which is how we met. And for Mirox, I know. For Nod, I probably know. But I'd like to hear your guys' take on this. How did you guys meet? Me, and then maybe did you meet the other people here on the couch?
So, how I met Scope. Scope is I met him being a friend of one of the first person I friended in VR chat, being named Ako. I don't know if they've appeared on here yet,
No.
or if they will.
They will. They will eventually,
okay.
yeah.
They will? Okay. Because they also like the same Vocaloid that I do. And then after that, I hung out with that person a lot and met Scope through that. And also some other people. And then through me, hanging out then with Scope over time, I have met Missing. And then through hanging out with Missing over time, I've met Nod.
I think that answers pretty well. So, Nod, what about you? How do you know me and how do you know the rest of the group?
Honestly, you're probably not going to remember this at all, but I ran into you in Just Moved In. That was like the first world I ever like spotted you in.
What the fuck?
I think we were like,
that's like really
that was
far
like so
away.
long ago.
Oh my god.
yes. I was with a person called like Fire the Ace. If you remember him, it's okay if you don't.
No.
But me and him kind of like interacted with you, and you friended me, but we actually like never interacted with each other, like almost never. And then I don't remember what world it was, but I remember joining on you at one point, and just to stop by and say hi. That's it. I was in like a little con or whatever. I think I ran into Missing there as well. He kind of just like rolled up in front of me and just like patted me or just like cool with it. I was like, oh, okay, sure. And then we both just like friended each other.
Wait, so you met me before you met Missing? Because I thought it was the other way around.
Yes.
I thought I met you through Missing. What
nope,
the
I met you. I met Missing through you.
Damn. Well, that's a really long time then, because I don't remember being in that world for like a year and a half, 2 years. Like,
yeah, that's how long it was. That's how long ago it was. I think you were in the Yukon. I'm not sure.
Oh, that's really old. Yeah. Yeah, no, I used to use I think it was a Miku avatar first, and then, well, mostly Ganyu afterwards. But that didn't came out like 2020, mid 2020 or something. So yeah, that has been really fucking way back. Ah, damn, dude.
Yeah.
And now you're on the podcast.
Through Missing, I met Myra. Mm-hmm.
All right. So Missing, what about you? How do you? Well, we've talked about how you met me. How do you meet these other two?
Well, for those who haven't listened to the other episode, it was in a public near. That was like years ago. Miro, I met shortly after I met you, because I would when I met you in that near world, then I was like, oh, this guy's cool. I should probably hang out with this group more. And then that's how I met Miro, who started talking about Yukari, and I'm like, hey, I like Yukari too. So we started talking after that. And him, well, you heard how I met him. Funny enough though, you went radio silent for a couple of years. I don't know, done something, and we ran into each other again by chance very recently, and have started hanging out a lot more since then.
Wait, yeah, so I do. If you were my friend that early on, then, and I don't remember you that well, then you probably didn't talk that much. So
yeah,
is there something that changed in like the last year or two that made you, be more communicative, actually start talking with people?
Honestly, I just got older. That's about it, really. I just got older, and going to school a lot kind of just like changed that. Not a boomer, but yeah, That's really it. Just
But
talking to people on the internet and just like uh going through my experiences on VR chat and just meeting people, just talking to people, having friends that I can actually just like trust. That kind of just like helped me to kind of push myself out of my shell a bit more.
mhm. But is it something that you learned through school? So getting more out of your shell or communicating, or is that just something you picked up on through VR chat and actually got tried communicating in that and you gained some experience and then used that in the real world as well?
It would have, yeah, the VR chat option would have to be it. I outside of VR, I'm like really shy and like very antisocial. I mean, I'm the same way here, but in here it's like easy to kind of just like branch out towards people since people in here are actually easier to talk to.
Hmm. What do you think it is? Is that just social consequences that you're missing out on? So if you are very
Um,
quiet, if someone doesn't like you, if it's in VR chat, they can just block you or you can block them. In real life, especially if you're in school and you get to see those people every day, yeah, it's kind of difficult to avoid those people.
yeah, that's really awkward when they're actually face to face with you, and you can't just like hover over them and just click block and just watch them disappear from real life forever.
If only. Well, actually, what's your experience regarding this, Mirox? Like,
Regarding what?
were you always a talkative person, or did you start out more shy or not as talkative, and then VR chat changed that for better or worse?
Well, it depends how far we go. Because if we go very far, when I was a kid, I was too talkative, where people would be annoyed at me how much I talked. And then life events happened, where I become extremely less talkative and interactive to people. And at some point, I started VR chat, and I guess it just smoothly became more and more talkative. I still have issues with how talkative I am in my interactions with people, but it is less worse than it was before. So yeah, I would say VRChat has helped, and I wasn't as talkative as I am right now. If you'd go like a good 1 or 2 years back, I would 100% be much more anxious and more having issues talking as I am right now.
All right, so that means it's actually working out for the better. And I feel like I'm in a similar
Mm-hmm.
boat. I've talked about this before in like the previous podcast where I've gained a lot of experience, or at least a lot of trust in myself to know, like, oh, I can actually communicate with people. I can just go up to someone, ask a question, ask them to do something, do a favor or whatever. Something that I wouldn't really think I would be doing um, before I started using VRChat. It just gave me the little push in the back, like to get out of my comfort zone, to actually try and talk to people and see, like, no, it's actually not that difficult. Um, what about you, Missing? How did you experience this?
Well, I started off playing VR chat mostly mute. I would like go up and only really talk to somebody if I've hung around them a lot. As I started to play, as I started to talk to more people, I kind of realized, I can just go say anything to anyone because if they don't care, then they'll just leave the instance or I'll leave, and that's that. So I just started to open up to more people, and those kinds of like that like practice with talking to people carried over into real life, and I started opening up to people in real life too a lot more.
Yeah, I would have thought that a game that's actually evolved around, socializing makes people a bit more social, or at least gives them more experience. What a coincidence. All right. Well, I think that's a good way to end up that topic. I do have a question, though, for the new guests, which is your name. So we have Miroxyde and we have n0dnarb, and then the O is a 0. Can you guys explain how you got your username? Starting with Mirox.
Oh boy. It started like quite a few years back when I was still playing Minecraft as my major game. And I didn't really have a username for myself. I was mostly like going close to my actual real name and just modify it a bit. And at some point, I met some people, made friend with them, And at some point, as a like little funny thing, we decided, what if we just mix all your username into one? It ended up with something like Miroxyde Bomb 13K, if I remember right. I just got comprised of my own username, which I will not say due to my personal name being somewhat related to it. Someone else being named Senpai Hero, where the hero stuck. Someone else being named Deoxide, where the oxide stayed, and the 13K came from someone being named Flying Takeout 13K. I do not remember for the bomb part. I do not remember the username of that person at all. And at some point, I just took that whole thing as my username for a while. And I was like, what if I just shorten it to Miroxyde? And I was like, oh, I like that. And it just kind of stuck and just became my identity online.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. I actually didn't know this specific origin. Because some people just have a simple name. You have, I think, so multiple names that just combined together made up your name. Although I guess for me and missing, well, you could say the numbers is a thing, but it's mostly because it was taken, because it's not unique enough. Well, that might actually also explain a bit your name, n0dnarb, or maybe the zero, but I'm not sure. How did you came up with your name?
Honestly, I kind of just like walked in with the intention of like not really caring. I just like put n0dnarb, which is technically the reverse of my actual real first name. Yet you'd be surprised how many people still do not get it or get extremely confused by it. So I just kept it that way because it's funny, like listening to people try to pronounce my name or just like not get it in general. And it's like, how?
It did take me a long while to realize that was what your username was supposed to be.
I just noticed that.
I feel like I'm the only one who
It
got
works.
it on the first, like, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, it's just have it backwards. Okay.
So that explains your guys' name. Then I would like to know what you guys are specifically known for. So what is like your special trait? If you would ask your friend, your mom, your dad, I don't know, your sister, what am I known for? Like if you could describe it in like a one sentence and then describe how that came to be. So starting with Mirox, is there something that you are known for, like among your friends, your communities? If people would describe you in like a word or a sentence, what would that be and why? Or why do you think you got that certain trait or name?
In terms of IRL, my family, nothing really comes up that I'm specifically known for. Exactly, except being the one in the back always, because I always like at parties just sit in the back. But if we're talking online, it depends which type of group of people. But most of my VRChat friends like kind of knows me as like the purple bunny. Mostly. That'd be pretty much it. I'm not that much known for many things. At least not that I'm aware of. It might be wrong, and people like associate me with certain stuff and know me more as certain ways that I've never been told or just never caught on. Yeah.
All right. And what about you, Nod?
I'm not really. I haven't really been mentioned as anything besides from like my parents and I guess a few like IRL friends as like the man of few words because I typically don't really talk much. I'm like mostly quiet
Typical.
unless you like actually like walk up to me and just like, say something to me or just like talk to me. I it's not like I don't care, so don't get it wrong, don't worry. I know like maybe my tone or anything might like sound wrong, but don't worry. I'm listening. I just sometimes I can't exactly like think of how to respond all the time. So I just give a simple okay, okay, all right, sure, and what's not.
Yeah, there are cases, for example, because I get what you mean, where someone says something or reacts a certain way, and then the only response that you come up with is like, okay, or like, and then it doesn't really feel merited to just actually make that remark. It doesn't really add anything to the conversation. So then I guess you just leave it out. In your case?
Yeah. don't get me wrong. Some people might take that the wrong way because there are people out there who absolutely hate small talk, which I understand. But you kind of just gotta take it with a grain of salt because not everybody is gonna have the answer to everything or the right response that you're looking for.
Or if you're looking for an answer to everything, just say 42, right? It's just it's gonna work out every time.
Right.
But what had made you actually join this podcast? If you're a man of few words, I don't think a person like that would want to join the podcast. Or are you getting second thoughts now and you're gonna just run out the building? It's like, okay, maybe I made a mistake.
maybe while the camera's rolling right now, I might just like sprint out of here. You never know. I don't know. I wanted to try it because I've never actually done a public broadcast or just like public speaking in general. I never actually really like got into it since, like I've said before, I'm typically shy and not really the kind of person to really speak first unless I'm spoken to.
Mm-hmm.
So, and ever since I became an adult, I kind of just like thought to myself like, I should probably like open myself up to different opportunities. Maybe try to like, do things that my teenage self would have probably never done. So here I am.
Mm-hmm. That's very, very good, I think. And that's actually not the first time I've had people go out of their comfort zone because of me. I've had that happen multiple times, actually. Like recently, we had an event where there was one guy who doesn't really want to come, like similar to you, maybe go up to people and ask them to do a certain thing for a challenge. I actually recorded a video of him doing it, although he was a bit under the influence, so that might have helped a bit. But he came back to me the next day saying like, hey, that's actually really cool because I would not have done that normally if he was sober. But this challenge kind of pushed him over the edge. But haven't you had like for me, I got a lot of public speaking, or whatever you want to call it, speaking in front of an audience from doing presentations in school because we just got fucking bombarded with exercises and group assignments where you have to present something in front of class. Is that not something that you have had experience with, or what would you do in that situation where you do have to, give a presentation with a group?
Well, first things first, like usually whenever the teacher is like calling me over to come and do a presentation, I always feel like this huge surge of just like nervousness and just like everything. It's like everything could go wrong any single moment. And I just like I freak out, but I literally take that energy and try to like, fuse it into myself, into more like enthusiasm and try to like actually take that step to go up there and actually present. And usually when I do, I actually surprise myself more times than I ever thought I would actually giving a public speech. And then as that's going on, all that negative feeling kind of just like empties out, and I just like feel super refreshed after that. So it feels good, but just the idea of it alone just like it makes me extremely anxious, which is why I'm usually afraid to do it. But I know that I can. I just need like a push, whether that be from either myself or a friend that can help me do that.
Yeah, I've had a similar experience where, yeah, it's the dread going on to the, like actually going on stage. But once you're there, you're doing the thing that you rehearsed or you're talking about a topic that you know about, then it's all fine, especially afterwards. It's like, oh, thank God it's over. And you get a little round of applause or whatever. And then you felt good doing it. And yeah, for us, or like the people that I went to college with, because we were doing this so many times, everyone was just like completely comfortable with doing presentations and that sort of stuff. Mirax, do you have something similar, or like what would you do in a case where you had to present, or like in a group setting you had to present your part in school or college?
Well, again, my school time pretty much split into two versions of myself in terms of shyness. If we go really at the start, I loved doing it. I very much loved doing it and just had zero issues at all. But then when the bad part of school happened, I was avoiding them as much as possible to the point of missing days at school on purpose if I knew it wasn't that day. And just really like as much as I can not doing them. Because every time that I had past that point, it went wrong. Like it absolutely went wrong. So I became kind of like just completely fearful of them and just not wanting to do them ever again. So I just avoided them like the plague.
Didn't that actually, cause any issues during school, like certain grades or failing certain classes because of it?
Not really, because I happen to be good at school. So usually, what I would lose there, I'd be able to make up in my other parts of French class. Since yes, my native language is not English; it is French. So I would just make it up there usually by getting enough that what I've lost from there does not matter as much.
So you were the one that were doing other assignments better than just the public speaking one, the presentation one. What about what about you missing? What's your experience with public speaking or like giving presentations?
I used to be like terrible at it all through was it middle school? I don't know. All throughout school. If I had to go up and present, I would be terrified of it. Not because no, it's just because I don't want to like go up and like speak to a lot of people and potentially embarrass myself. But I think at one point in high school, I had a law presentation and I kind of procrastinated doing the presentation until like the night before. So I just did a bunch of Google searches, wrote up a few slides in PowerPoint, walked up there, didn't rehearse anything. I just flipped through slides, I read them off, and I kind of just like in my head came up with a presentation on the spot. I improvised it, and it went over pretty well. And ever since that day, I was like, you know what? I've been overthinking it this whole time. When I could just like be BSing my presentations, and it would go over the same. I'd still get a grade. So I don't know. I used to have a problem with it, and then I hit that one realization. I was like, you know what? I don't actually have to care that much. It's everyone's got problems with public speaking, so they all probably understand that you're nervous as hell up there. So once I had that, I was fine.
Yeah, I've a similar thing where I'm the person that likes to plan a lot of things in advance and set things up. But when it comes to presentations, I'd actually rather wing it. I'd rather just have like a small few topics that I want to talk about, but how I'm going to present it and which kind of vibe, what I'm going to do in front of the audience, I'm going to walk, whatever. I don't prepare that. I just do that as like an improv session, basically. And I feel like that's more genuine because I've seen a lot of people present or like prepare their presentations so much that they want to talk by the slides, like word for word. They want to have it perfect. But that's going to be very difficult, and you're going to give away a vibe that is very ungenuine or like very staged. And that doesn't really fly that well with the audience. My idea is always to at least find a way to make the audience laugh, because if you made them laugh, then you're like golden. Then you're in. You've done it. And a lot of these people that try and practice everything in advance to the letter, they just do it in a way that's good, but the audience is not really captivated or they think it's boring. So then it's just a boring presentation you have to sit through. It's like a meeting at work. It's like, okay, we just have to do a meeting. This is whatever. And no one's really going to like it. But finally, when it's done, you haven't really actually caught up on any information. But if someone's actually improvising or like giving it a bit more energy, like making people laugh, that actually sticks more to the audience, which is always a thing that I advise people to do. So yeah, try not to prepare too much, make it a bit more authentic, make it a bit more loosely, and then try and make a joke or somewhere. Try and act something funny or fall on your face for all I care. I don't know. Anything to make the people laugh, really. And then you will have a good time. And people will remember your presentation. I even had a thing where our teachers would, so normally there would be a limit of like minimum, like 10 minutes presentation or 15 minutes. for us specifically, because I did like a business IT major, and business is a lot of bullshitting. So something you have experience with. So we could bullshit for hours if we wanted to. So instead of having a minimum requirement of time, we had a maximum requirement, and that would fuck me over because I could talk for hours and not fucking care. But we don't have that time in the classes for everyone to do like an hour-long podcast. Everyone gets to do their own podcast in front of class. Imagine. No, everyone gets to do their presentation. We have a set amount of time just because teachers have a set amount of time. And it actually makes us then have to summarize a bunch of these things to make it more palatable for the people actually listening, for them to understand. So yeah, that is my experience with public speaking. Do you guys have anything else to add to that?
Just the last part, the like maximum time limit is pretty interesting. It's like you need to take your information and actually condense it down, take the important parts, and then put it in a way that people can
digest it,
understand. That's an interesting challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's even more helpful than having a minimum time limit, because then you can just bullshit away through a lot of these exercises, which the teachers caught on at some point. So too bad. Oh well. All right, then going from public speaking to something else, which is going to be this is going to be the final topic for personal introduction, and afterwards I have some random fucking topics that we can discuss. So the next topic would be personal goals, which is what are the things in like the short term, like this year maybe, like a New Year's resolution, what do you want to do, or like a longer term, like 3 to 5 years. What are some things you are looking forward to, some things you are trying to accomplish? What would that be? So starting again from, let's start with Nod this time. What are your personal goals?
I never really sat down and thought about it too much, but
hey, there
I
we
know
go.
the most important thing I really want.
Getting out of your shell again.
Well, now you are.
Yep.
I know the most important thing that I really want to do is like actually like finish up college, get a job, move out, have my own space and everything to myself, where I can like have my own rules, just just somewhere where I can like think peacefully.
Mm-hmm.
That does not mean that I want to get rid of my parents. I love them very much, but having my own space would be really nice. That way I can do whatever I want, learn whatever I want. Not to say that they're slowing me down or anything like that. I just
go to bed at any time you want.
I just need peace, just pure peace to myself. That would feel really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I'll keep in contact with them. I hope people who live on their own still do that. Please don't forget about your parents. That's honestly like as much as I can think of at the moment. I need to like actually sit down and like come to terms with myself about what I truly want to do.
Yeah, well, if you're still not finished with school or not moved out of your parents' house, like that's a very good step up in life, or like an adulting kind of thing. You're starting to become an adult and actually live on your own, know how to make your own decisions, have your own responsibilities, pay the bills, those kind of things. And well, for me, that used to be like a very good, like the almost the best decision of my life is like moving out of my parents' place, because you introduce yourself to so many more responsibilities, things you have to deal with, which normally you just ask your parents or ask your friends. Now you have to do all these kind of things yourself, and it really grows your character, I believe. So yeah, that's a very, very good thing to look forward to. And then after that, it's gonna be difficult. What kind of thing you want to do in your life, or like in a career, or if you want to start a family, those kind of things. It's good to have like the next step to go towards that, and then after that you can think about those kind of things. All right, so Mirox, what's your personal goal?
I never really thought about it either.
There we go.
But my answer would definitely be a similar, but in a bigger contrast to Nod. As in, one of my main thing also would be moving out. But I do want to cut contact with my mother, though, because she's really not a good person whatsoever and has caused me many issues in my life.
Can relate.
Mental issues which I actually do want to resolve, or at least get to know better and have better understanding of myself, as one of the goal that would be. Yeah, also, a thing. But is it many things? When I'll have moved out, I'll just learn how to live elsewhere, like not with my mom, and probably just then wing it from there, see what life does, what life throws at me, and react from there. But otherwise, a general goal I would have, which is completely unrelated, sort of, but also is related to just goals, just get better at rhythm games constantly.
Wow.
I mean, it's funny to be called like inhuman because you're so good, and people that don't know rhythm games or whatever are just looking at you and saying like, "You're not human. Like, how are you doing this? This is who are you?" It's a funny but yet nice feeling of having people just being so impressed by your skills that you yourself find is very normal.
Well, people would actually be more impressed if you got very good at rhythm games compared to some other people. Not trying to sound racist, but like Asian people, which are known for being very good at these kind of video games as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then as a white person, if you actually can be as good as them, that would be pretty impressive. Yeah.
But it is a known thing that some people are able to reach that level of skills, like be on what we call Asian level of just playing. It is a thing that has been known to like some people are able to do. It is definitely rarer, but I wonder if it's more just we don't have as much possibility in the skill, or just the number of people having interest towards those being just lower over like in America and than it is in Asia. Which I would believe that's the reason they're more known for it is the interest there and the amount of like just people doing it there is so high that there's going to be more people who are good at it compared to here where it is lower.
Mm-hmm.
It's extremely funny that you mentioned this. Actually, I was just talking to somebody right before I joined here about exactly this thing about
Asians.
the Asian skill in in rhythm games, and we deduced that it might actually be like a cultural thing because over in highly competitive countries like that, you have people pushing to be the best at everything, and that kind of like mentality permeates through everything you do. So if you pick up a cool hobby like playing a rhythm game, then you're gonna want to also be the best that you can be at that rhythm game. Um, it's like a I don't know, like a cultural thing.
Oh yeah, I definitely believe
But
that.
I wouldn't even really well okay. I want to say like oh it's not an Asian thing because I've seen Indians do it, but like India's also a part of Asia, so maybe it is just an Asian thing.
Yeah, it could be.
I don't know.
Well, so if you look at this is an interesting point because if you look at school grades and you would actually group them by race or like culture or however you want to call it, Asian people usually do better in school than most other races. And this has to do, like you said, mostly with culture, or at least that's what I believe. Where in their family, their parents will try and push their kid to really go and get good grades. So it's like if you get like a B, then it's like a bad grade if you're in an Asian family. So you're always trying to strive for like an A or an A plus or whatever. And that sort of thing is like a cultural thing because it happens just if you look at race, it's predominantly Asian people that score better, that try and achieve that kind of a position in education. And maybe also not just education, like you said, also rhythm games or anything in life, really. They try and really pursue the top score, I guess. So yeah, I do agree with that.
Well, I can't really say too much considering I'm not much of a rhythm gamer myself. So I technically kind of avoid this entirely, pretty much. But um, I don't I don't really know actually. I literally have no idea. I'm sorry if I can't really answer this, but
Yeah, that's fine.
that's really it.
Did you have some Asian friends in your class or whatever that are like very much striving to be like the best? Like doing also better than most other
Uh,
people?
no, no, they're just like everybody else in my class. We all just want to pass and get out, move on. That's it. End of story.
Okay. Yeah, that might be a more modern Asian approach to things where that kind of cultural thing from the family kind of gets died down or you get influenced by, your peers where yeah, just pass the class and then you'll be good. Yeah, I can definitely see that. What about you, Mirix?
We didn't really have any very much Asian in nature person. We mostly like had like maybe one Asian parent or like it was far off. So no one really stood out in that way. But always going back to rhythm gaming stuff or like just games in general. I've had someone which I myself at the start saw as like this person is inhuman. Like what they're doing is just insane. It is crazy, and they've been playing it for a good amount of years. Like if I recall, they have said like 5 to 6 years, if not more than that. And I had started myself, sort of as like a little. I'm gonna reach that. I'm gonna be better than that, or I'm gonna be able to compete with this person. And within a year of doing that, nearly on a daily basis, I reached a level very close to theirs. And they are of Asian origins, India, but still Asian. So it also just depends on time and effort. When I started, I was horrible. I was absolutely horrible. Like it was unbelievable how bad I was. It was crazy, but I just powered through it and put the time and effort, and I have reached a very good level. So I don't really think it is a cultural thing of why it's more predominant in the Asian race for sure. But I'd say anyone can really do it if they put the time and effort into it. It just Asians are more pushed towards it.
Yeah, exactly. So it becomes more of a dedication thing that is learned through culture, not so much that they have like a natural talent for these kind of things or learning anything. Because
the rhythm game gene.
The rhythm game gene, yeah, it's
natural
in their DNA.
Yeah, natural talent is a thing, but I think people put too much thought into like you have to have a talent for it. It has to be a natural talent. If I start and I'm not good, I'm never going to be good, which is again completely wrong. As I myself started horrible. Yeah, it's a mindset to break. Like it's not because you're bad at the start that you're never going to make it. If you persevere and continue, at some point you'll break that not being good, and you'll just click. And then they'll just go on from there, no matter what it is. If you just put the proper effort into it and persevere through the hard start, even if you think you're absolutely horrible, you're going to become good. You're going to reach like an acceptable level and levels that some people like look up to and they're like, this person's amazing.
Yeah, but a lot of people that look at that, especially from the outside, will not see the amount of effort that someone put into that skill. So for them, it's like foreign, or they try and, it's like, oh, this guy just has like rhythm game DNA in himself or whatever, or he got sponsored or something. But people don't really look at the actual time it takes to really learn that skill. Yeah, but it goes for a lot of things in life. Even if you go to things like streamers,
drawing, sports,
yeah,
anything
can be anything really. A lot of people just say, "Oh, it's just because they're Asian, or just because they happen to be good at it. It's a natural gift." It's like no, like a lot of these people just put in the hours.
More rare. That is more rare than people make it out to be. Of the natural talent, they're gifted. People think that's much more common than it is when it's really just more dedication and effort most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Well, speaking of dedication, a lot of people have been dedicated nowadays. So this is completely topic changed. What a subway. Subway. Segway.
Subway is good.
By the way,
hungry
we're
now.
sponsored by Subway now. I am looking for sponsors, guys. I'm looking
Oh
for
my
sponsors. No,
God.
this, no. No, so it's a segue into a different thing with people with a lot of dedication, perseverance, is people that are working on artificial intelligence. Yes, sorry to bring it up again, missing, but this is one of the topics I got here. So we've actually seen, so since the last time we've had the podcast, a lot of public debate has been going on about AI and has been growing quite a bit. And some of the ideas I had actually with some friends on AI, like trying to make like a fake streamer or like a fake personality that you could put on like a podcast and then have like, oh, today I'm interviewing I don't know, like Joe Biden. He's sitting right there and you just have someone in the Joe Biden avatar. You use an AI to mimic his voice. You have like a script of things he could say and you can have an interview with just any random person, like even like a dead person, like from the past. So today we're reliving Michael Jackson's experiences. We're going to bring him back to the dead in AI form on this couch today. We have it on the podcast. Like you could have those kind of things, which is an interesting thing, like AI streamers. But of course, we have a bit more basic things like ChatGPT, and now also Microsoft having a large stake in it and actually integrating it into things like Bing, their search engine. And we have already been seeing the thing we've seen in the past with Microsoft, going back to their Tay AI, I think it was called, which after a couple weeks, it was turning very racist. And we are now seeing the same thing with ChatGPT. So what is your guys' opinion on that? What do you think is causing this? Why is AI always turning racist after a certain amount of time?
I mean, an AI can only. I'm trying to think like how to take the huge topic of machine learning.
Hey, it's like a
down.
presentation.
AI can only learn from. Fun. AI can only learn from what's in its training data, and what they train ChatGPT on is what they say is a large chunk of the internet, and they don't want to specify what for I don't know, privacy, or because they don't want people to know that they put a lot of 4chan into it.
Oh my god!
But it was a large chunk of the internet, and they, I guess, because it was so big, they didn't sift through it and filter out what this and that and whatever. And the inherent problem for that is these neural networks grow so large that you can't like get one person to look through the whole network and figure out what it does. So it kind of just becomes like a black box after you get to the certain point. So you feed in a huge chunk of data. If that data has racism in it, there's a good chance it's going to spit out something racist. And the engineers working on it, they're gonna have to work like around the clock to study the entire neural network to figure out, okay, where is this in the training data? Where is it being output? How do we intercept this? How do we stop it? Whatever. But really, like if you put in racism in the training data, it's eventually going to come out at some point.
Well, I think part of it has also to do with the fact that there are people giving feedback on the AI, saying if an answer is correct or if it's bad. And yeah, if you let that run loose in the public, then there are going to be people that are going to abuse that system to make it, make it racist or make it say things it shouldn't be saying. So yeah, there's always this public aspect.
I feel like their feedback system is somewhat moderated though, but if it isn't,
I hope it is.
It would kind of be hilarious because if you let people freely just say like, oh, this is a good answer. Yeah, these instructions on how to make meth. Yeah. Oh, muriatic acid. Yeah, that's right. And then they write that up, and then it gets fed into the training data automatically. That is a bad idea. They shouldn't be doing that. But if they are, that's hilarious. That might be why. I don't know.
Well, it's like if they would have like a math problem and you say just 1 + 1 and the AI says, okay, 1 + 1 is 2. And you say, no, that's wrong. It's 3.5. It's 3.5 now. You need to adjust. This is wrong. If enough people would do that and correct it, and it goes through the cracks of like moderation, then yeah, it's just gonna say, oh yeah, 1 + 1 is 3, 2.5, 3.5, whatever. It doesn't matter. It can just be anything. So yeah, especially math and science related things, this is gonna be a problem if they have like user feedback on those kind of things, trying to correct it in that kind of way. Yeah, there's actually a thing what Microsoft has done to try and combat this is to limit the amount of replies it can do in a conversation to 5. So usually people will try and communicate and ask so many follow-up questions that eventually the AI will say something that it's, not supposed to say, or something that is racist or could be interpreted as such. So that is a way currently that they are trying to, lessen the amount of abuse on this kind of AI chatbot. But as time has shown in the past, I feel like this is bound to happen. Like it's just going to turn racist at some point. People are going to abuse the system because it's public. It's just nature. It's just how humans work, or at least that's what I think. What's your opinion on this, Mirox?
Well, you two pretty much covered it mostly. There's not much to add to that, as it very much depends on what's the training data that it was given to, and then after that, if they let the public affect it in some way or not. Either it uses what people talking with are saying as its own to add to the training, or just letting people affect it with feedback or stuff. And if you let any form of public way of affecting it, the internet loves chaos. A good portion of the internet loves chaos and just
also
causing
you
trouble.
love chaos a lot.
Yes, I am an advocate for chaos. I do love chaos.
Don't give Mirox an
but if you let people just have access to affect something like that openly, it's bound to happen because people just love messing with things. There's many examples of that over the internet. If you let the internet be able to do its thing, it will, and will not turn out good. That's just how the internet is. Major part of that is 4chan, but also internet people in general, because the internet is mostly anonymous. So why not just mess with things? How could they know it's me? How could they know the source? Most of the time, people cannot. So yeah, otherwise, there's not much more to add to that. Just like you both pretty much covered it, depending on like how public it is to affect it and just what it was trained on.
Mm-hmm. All right. And Nod, do you have anything to add to that?
I'm pretty much in the same boat as Myro. Like I agree with like you two and like everything you guys said. You pretty much just like hit the mark on like pretty much everything. And me being like super like non-tech savvy and all. But yeah, what if somebody really is just like there, just like cracked open a book with like every single stereotype and swear word and just like every racist term and just like started like spitting out to the AI. It's like, okay, yeah, sure, man.
Yep, and there's probably
and
someone
now the AI is just like, yeah, and the AI is just like calling you the most foul thing you've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
If I recall, that's exactly what happened with Tay back then, because it was learning and fitting itself off what people would like give it and use to talk with it. So that's if I recall, that's exactly what happened. Would just feed off what people would say to it, to then people would say to others, then people would just corrupt it.
And then suddenly Tay joined the Third Reich and, started doing Nazi salutes and whatever, spreading swastikas everywhere. And then, yeah, that's kind of what happens. But this brings up an interesting point. So you were talking about chaos, but that's actually something that you are known for, Mirox, is causing chaos in a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Could you expand a bit more on that?
What do you mean by expand more on that?
Like, what kind of things do you like to cause chaos in? Like, I know, for example, one of the things is just video games in general, trying to stress test things and break things to find the limits.
I wouldn't call that part chaos, and more just extreme stubbornness coupled with curiosity. But I'm gonna go on that. But if we go on the terms of chaos, is as again on the internet, it's mostly anonymous. You can't really know who's behind the avatar, who's behind the text, who's behind anything. You can't really know, so you can't really get to them and punish them for what they've done most of the time. And at time, it is just fun to just mess with people a bit, just do little things that just affects people, but like not necessarily in a very bad way, but in a way that makes them react because they got no spine. It is just funny to mess with people and stuff. But then if we go about just the stress testing stuff and just trying to break things as much as possible, I think that's just me being obsessed with how things work and trying to understand how they work, and then just boils down into me and then while trying to understand how something works, I push it to its limit so much that it breaks, or I see something, then I'm like, I feel like that is possible. So I'm just going to try it over and over and over until it works. And if I see an ounce of progress, that means it is possible, or I can get much closer to it. So I'll just never stop because I'm very stubborn. So I'll always, most of the time, end up breaking things out of pure stubbornness, or just curiosity of what if I do this? What if that happens? Because it's always fun to try things out and see how things react, including people. Which is another reason of chaos, is to try, what if I do this towards this person? What if I do this thing? What will be the reaction? Because the human mind is very interesting and how it works with people in general. So it's always interesting to just test people and the reaction, kinda. And causing chaos is a nice way to test how people react to things.
But would you say that is then also describing things
what you're saying.
trying to manipulate people, or trying to do it in
exactly
in a good way or in a bad way? Because chaos usually just means, doing things in a bad way.
Chaos isn't necessarily bad.
Well, that is arguable.
It is seen
because
as such.
The universe is entirely made of chaos. It's not very predictable.
Technically, everything is chaotic in nature.
Yeah, exactly.
So but it's not really manipulation. It depends how you see it, and manipulation isn't always a bad thing either. It is oftenly is, and very more oftenly used in bad ways, and I can't find the word. Malicious ways. Most of our manipulation is used in that way, yes. But there's ways to be neutral or even good in the way you manipulate people. Even though I would not advise manipulating people in most ways. At all, because it's not really a good thing.
Well, I have a good example.
But it also depends, for that, it depends mostly the reason of manipulation and the degrees of it and the consequences of it. While it is not a thing that I'd advise doing, at time it might be a bit necessary to manipulate someone to help themselves, or do things good for someone, or just neutral things just to mess around. What I'd say never do is just bad manipulation. Obviously, just malicious manipulation. It's not good, but manipulation is often seen as a bad thing. It isn't inherently bad. It's just how it is mostly used and portrayed. So yeah, in some way it can be manipulation at times, yeah, but there's never really bad intent behind it.
Mm-hmm. Well,
for my part.
I've followed up on that, but you wanted to say something missing.
Mm-hmm.
Or you had a thought?
I was just going to say, to put it short, you do a little bit of trolling.
Yeah, we could say that.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, I was going to add to that manipulation is also something that I do, but then, like you said, in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
For example, we could take n0d here, which is usually the quiet one, but I'm pointing a camera at his face to try and make him talk in front of a podcast, trying to push them out of their shell, which I've been doing for a lot of people, actually. And that will actually help people grow, or get to know themselves better, or grow their personality. And you could see that as manipulation, because you're manipulating the person in doing something that they normally wouldn't do. But the end result is actually something beneficial, or at least I hope it is. I'm not sure. How do you feel about that, Nod?
I mean,
Are you
you can't
feeling
have light without a
manipulated?
little bit of dark. Honestly, not exactly, because
Okay, hold on. Let me grab my gun.
a lot of this really is my no. A lot of this is really like my own doing, and just like me, just like trying to like tell my inner self to kind of just like stand up a little bit, because I'm so used to kind of just like laying back and just like, just watching the fires just like rain down. That's really it. I I just took a lot of that in personal just like strength, and just like used it to bring myself like right here in this spot as we speak. I I gotta make that push for myself. I can't really let others really do it for me, because I'll never learn if I just don't like figure it out on my own first. Sure, friends can give you like a bump, but really
Mhm.
and truly, you have to be the one to make that change. You have to be the one to make that push.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you'll never get better.
you're the one that makes the decision. Yeah. Well, which is actually, this brings up a fun topic which I had in mind but didn't actually wrote down. I talked with my friends about it at work recently. So what's the fine line then between trying to manipulate someone to do something, or convincing them of a certain thing, and then bullying? Well, what do you think that line would be? Couldn't you argue? So I'm playing devil's advocate. Couldn't you argue that bullying in some way could also be seen as a positive thing, trying to push people a certain direction, or like make them aware of a certain thing or personality trait that might not be favorable in like a group of people or something?
Honestly, hmm. Now that I think about that,
Makes you think, right?
yeah.
Where's the start bullying
with
campaign? Let's
with
fucking start it. Actually, there's a website for that.
I mean, with bullying, yeah, it does make like, some people like change in a good way. It lets it helps them develop a stronger mindset. But you can also say that like in the reverse, where it actually ruins people and just like makes their lives worse, and they just like keep going downhill from there. You could also say the exact same thing about manipulation, but I guess maybe it's just like, how personally you take it as a person. Do you take that roadblock and just like let it consume you, and just like let it halt you in place, or do you try to find ways to skip over it, to just like keep progressing?
Mm-hmm. Mirox, you want to say something?
My personal experience with bullying hasn't really been a good thing, so I am biased towards saying bullying is absolutely fucking horrible. And
usually it's in a bad context. Yes. Yes.
And the line between manipulation and bullying, they're very different things, actually. Even though they can overlap, definitely, they're extremely different and separate things. I'd say I do see the point of bullying being able to make some good in some people, but most of the time that will not be the case, as it is very morally and emotionally demanding, and most of the time will break people if done in greater amounts. While manipulation, the person doesn't necessarily know what's going on. Manipulation is much more subtle, so it won't affect the person morally or emotionally, really, unless they notice it or get known that they're being manipulated in a bad way. But if it's in a good way, it depends then how you take it. Of I've been manipulated, that's wrong, or oh, this person is making me do things that are good for myself. It really depends how you see it for that. I don't have any case of bullying being good, while manipulation, I've seen quite a lot of times manipulation being good, like using using a good way.
Well, it usually depends because bullying is usually it's used in a bad faith effort, by people. But it can also be the person that's trying to help you or trying to make you change something is doing it in an incorrect way. Like he's trying to have a good intent of improving your character or your personality, but then failing horribly and actually being very mean and condescending and not doing it in the correct way. So that could also be the case. But yeah, I do agree that it very much depends on the person, the context, the intent of the person that is bullying, and how the people that get bullied will receive it. Well, what's your opinion on this, Missing?
It's very varied, nuanced. Is nuanced the right word? It's like, I don't know, like bullying usually
The
when
spectrum.
it's done with ill intent. Like you could argue, yeah, spectrum. I'm on the bullying spectrum. You could argue that like this person's trying to bully you because they see a quality in you that they want to correct, and the only way they knew how to do that is to like harass you and make you feel like shit, so that you feel like inclined not to do that. That could be possible, but that's kind of like a lazy way of doing it. There are ways to tell a person either like directly or indirectly that you shouldn't be doing this. But at that point, like it falls out of it being bullying and goes more into like just general social pushback, which is like a completely like normal thing. The reason why people don't act out in public is because you get a lot of social pushback from your peers saying like, hey, that's weird, don't do that. Yeah. What else was I gonna? Oh yeah, if you try to like bully someone to correct the behavior on them, it's the exact same thing as like a parent just taking a wooden spoon and like beating the shit out of their child because they just don't want to like properly discipline them. It's like, oh, I could put you on timeout, I could do this, do that, whatever, or I could just take a spoon and just beat you whenever you do something wrong, and that never goes well.
Well, there's a different word for that. It's called domestic abuse.
Yeah, domestic child abuse, fun.
Yeah, we're not promoting that, by the way.
It's like
that's like goes
no,
way off the
this is
spectrum.
not endorsed in any way. But yeah, and also like, so even saying like somebody's bullying you to try to like correct behavior that they see that's wrong in you, um, they could be completely wrong about that. Like they see something wrong, but because it's something they personally don't like. It doesn't have to be wrong. Like imagine if you're two kids in junior school or whatever, and some kid sees you eating pineapples on your pizza, and they just take you behind the school and beat the fuck out of you because of that. Like, and they're like, "Don't ever eat pineapple." Like, there's nothing wrong with
It's the
that. I
Italians
think
in
it's
class.
gross. That's just an opinion. Like, and that's just like a weird example. I've seen it for everything. What kind of show you like? What kind of things the hobbies you do in your free time? Like for the people who think, oh, I'm gonna correct you, like they have to have an idea of what's right and wrong, and a lot of the time they don't. It's just down to like, you have a differing opinion. I'm gonna beat you up and insult you now.
Well, yeah, if a lot of bullying is being done by, minors or like teenagers, they usually don't really have the moral compass. It's not that developed at that age where they can make these kind of decisions or right and wrong, or at least I believe it's a bit flawed. It still needs some development when you're at that age. So probably not best to have those kind of people make those kind of decisions.
Every problem that you could solve with bullying, you could probably also solve equally better by
Diplomacy.
I don't really want to say manipulating people, but yeah, like manipulating people just a little bit in like a good way. You don't have to cause psychological trauma to someone. That was the other thing I was going to mention. Bullying causes trauma, and that sticks with you. So like you might fix a problem, but then you'll cause another problem, and that sticks with them for a long time. So cool, you fixed this thing, but now you've got to fight to solve this problem now. So you're at a net zero, or even like a net negative if the problem ends up being worse. Like the person develops social anxiety because they don't want to go outside because every time they do, they get bullied. Stuff like that.
What if you just tell them, having a social trauma is lame, man. You should not have that. That's dumb. Be normal. Bully them out of the social trauma, man. Maybe that's gonna help.
Yeah, there you go. Easy solution.
Yeah, let's not do that. No, I think we've gone on a bit on like pretty deep, more philosophical topics. I got one topic that's going to be very, very lighthearted to maybe end the podcast with, which is something that I actually started doing recently, which is so I looked at my fuel consumption of my car, and I usually go to the same gas station each time. And this gas station has like the little program, a loyalty program, if you go to the same gas station multiple times. And then you get a bunch of these, benefits or rewards or discounts. Even though I've been against loyalty cards and loyalty programs for the longest time, because the fact that, at every fucking supermarket, every fucking store, they ask, oh, you want this card? You want this loyalty card? It's like, no, I don't fucking care. Like, I don't want to have a wallet filled with 20 different cards for each store you go to. That doesn't make any fucking sense. I would rather them have to actually incorporate that discount from the get-go without having to sign up for a loyalty program. But in this case, because I'm going there anyway, might as well. The only problem is I couldn't use my previous receipts to actually put in the points, because I've spent over, I think 9,000 euros over 2 to 3 years on gasoline alone. I could have gotten quite a lot of rewards from that, but I'm I'm working towards that. But what's your guys' opinion on things like loyalty cards? Like if you go to a store and they ask you hey, you want this card at the store to get some discounts, what would you say? What's your opinion on it? Anyone who wants to start?
From a consumer standpoint, I think I hate them. If I were to be running my own business, I'd probably set up a loyalty program, but I'd do it begrudgingly because I hate them. But they work. You get customers to stick around who would rather go somewhere else. So it works in a business sense. But for example, Tim Hortons, every Canadian's least favorite coffee franchise, they recently started, well, recently-ish, last year, I think.
There goes my fucking sponsorship, man. That's it.
Oops. Oh well. Oh. They have a loyalty program where if you buy 8 coffees in a row, or 7 coffees in a row, you get the 8th one free. That's cool. That's a free coffee every 8 times. So you go, people who go get their coffee once every day on their way to work or on their way home, twice a week, they get a free coffee. I pay a lot of attention to coffee prices because I buy a lot of coffee and I have to manage my money to make sure I don't go broke because I'm in college and money man, whatever. So I just noticed the price of coffee slowly increase the previous year leading up to when they introduced that by exactly 1/8 of a coffee. So by the time you buy 8 coffees or 7 coffees, you've already paid the amount for the free coffee. So it's a free coffee, only the people who are in the loyalty program get it for the same price that they would have, and the people who aren't are now paying 1/8 of a coffee per coffee extra. So as a consumer, I hate them. They're dumb. They're stupid. They trick you into thinking you get free shit that you don't. It's all a lie. It's all scam. It's I hate Tim Hortons.
Nice little rant there.
Canada's biggest Tim Hortons fan.
But you still go there every time, or what? Do you go to Tim Hortons?
I make my own coffee now. Actually, I buy these grinds and I just make them in my own little fancy coffee filter.
All right, that's nice. Stick it up to the man. Making my own coffee now. Getting my own loyalty program at home. for yourself.
Loyalty to my caffeine addiction.
I know, right?
I'm not really sure what to think about them, but I do know like something that is of like somewhat of a loyalty program that has like both a positive and a negative. So last weekend there was like this resort hotel that I went to in Connecticut. It has something called momentum dollars, and you get that from like a special card. And the only way to gain momentum dollars with that card is to pretty much gamble. So if you're a person who likes to gamble, then the more you play, the more momentum dollars you get. And with those momentum dollars, you can pretty much like void restaurant bills and gas money with those momentum dollars. So basically you can do your entire like trip over there for free as long as you play. Um which the negative is like if you gamble your life away you're gonna lose all your money or whatever, but if you have like money that you can throw away and you do play, you generate those over time. So essentially that's there for like pretty much anybody. Of course over the age of 21 they have a limit to who can go and play, but yeah, essentially those momentum dollars are pretty much like a free pass. If you generate enough over time, you can just buy the most expensive things at that hotel and just like walk away scot-free without damaging your bank account, really. But I guess for the people who do not know that or do not want to gamble, then you better like choose like the cheapest option, or you better come in there with like a full stack of cash ready to pay up, because those bills are going to be pretty hefty.
Wait, so you have to actually put in money and gamble to get these points, or you get those points when you, for example, rent a room?
Yeah, it's like you get those points as you gamble, which is why it says kind of like a positive and a negative, because positively you're generating like currency at a hotel to gain like its own currency, so you can like pretty much pay off everything for free as long as you have enough momentum dollars. But negatively, if you're a pretty steep gambler, you're losing all your money just to get that benefit.
What the fuck? So basically, this hotel just made their own
Yeah.
Bitcoin, their own crypto, called momentum dollars.
Their own like
pay for
those
shit.
like farm bill gems that you get.
Yeah, they obfuscate your actual money into these tokens, these coins.
Yeah. Like the idea is kind of crazy, but it works because like it does help you avoid like a bill. Yeah, because like it avoids making you pay a hefty bill for something you absolutely do not have the cash on you right now to pay for, because you spent it all gambling. But the money will be there forever and ever, as long as you keep playing and generating that currency, so you can just like plan a trip to the weekend and just like come out of that weekend with like $0 loss, as long as you didn't gamble, of course.
Oh man, what a system!
Essentially, you're losing money to make money.
You're losing money to make money. Basically, it's a rinse and repeat process.
To make imaginary like fake money.
Yeah, that you can use. So basically, it's a gambler's. It's a gambler's paradise.
Well, it's like a gambler's loyalty card in that case, right?
The song by Julio.
Basically.
Oh my god!
Like the idea to me sounds like really crazy, but like if you like, I guess if you're somebody who just like doesn't really care and just like is willing to just like give up your cash just to generate that amount of money, and you just like save up and save up and save up, you can just like get the best benefits over there at that hotel for pretty much free.
Oh my god! I feel like that should be like illegal. Like you're just getting people to gamble more. Like they're already gambling. It's already bad. You need to already put disclaimers on this shit. And then you put a whole new system behind it once they actually do gamble. Man, oh fucking god. What if you could gamble the momentum coins or whatever into some other thing that grants you some more special treatment, VIP access thing, limited edition, all the fear of missing out, and then they could just like repeat it. They could just have a loyalty system of a loyalty system on top of one another to just get people to spend more money. Oh, fucking good.
Yeah, I don't know, but I guess you're you're at least getting some kind of reward, even though you're not exactly hitting the jackpot and actually gaining real money back. So yeah, it's a quote unquote benefit. It works, but good lord, you're say goodbye to your cash.
Well, I don't think you have that experience with loyalty cards missing or Mirox. So, well, what's your opinion
really,
on
that? Have any form of loyalty thing?
Good question.
Participate in or have or thought
Other
about?
than like Nintendo Gold points.
I forgot that's even a thing so much I don't even care. I forgot like I am getting those
Nobody
over time.
uses them.
Well, no, I am. I am. It just passively and subconsciously, never thinking about it. Like, oh, like I'm saving money on this because I've spent money, but like I would have spent the money anyway. So whatever. And I don't have much experience with like loyalty things really. Except fucking just credit cards in general themselves having cash back of the more you use the credit card, you gain cash back on it. That's a point. When you've like spent like an equivalent of $25 of cash back, which I think it's like 0.1%. So you need to spend like $2,500. Then you get a free $25. Otherwise, I don't think I really do anything loyalty thing, and that one everyone does. So I don't have any experience with loyalty thing. I can't really say anything. Oh wait, yeah, true. Wait, Domino's, pizza.
Oh my god! I remember a friend of mine that had like a
Subway
the
no
Maxim
pizza.
Gold
I'm
card or
hungry,
whatever.
man.
Oh yeah.
Really, for me, it doesn't. It's just nice because I make a high enough amount of money that I don't care much how much I spend, and the benefits I get from it being like a free pizza every 7th pizza.
It's like the Tim Hortons
It is
thing.
nice because I don't care like how much I spend on
Hey,
the first
did they happen to
pizzas.
raise
It's
the
like
price of pizzas recently?
I don't know. I never checked. Because I don't care. Like I have enough money that like I don't care how much I pay. I'm getting a pizza. That's all I care about. And then hey, the 7th one I don't have to pay. That's neat. So me with the amount of money I make and not really being involved in much loyalty thing, I don't have much opinion on it. I find it nice, but definitely for people that are more like broke, don't have a job, or make very low amount of money, if it really just ups the price to make the illusion of benefit, that's no. Really, it depends of the salary you have and how you see your own money. Really, if it's like if loyalty things are beneficial, nice, or if they're just absolutely horrible.
Well, that's the thing, right? So I personally earn quite a bit of money, so I never really cared for loyalty cards because I feel like more like poor people would like save up these stamps or these points for like even you get a free set of pans or like utensils if you shop at the supermarket so many times. But I'm like, I don't fucking care. If I want utensils or anything like that, I'll just buy it, like actual quality things, instead of getting the free ones from the supermarket by spending the points. So yeah, I never really got the point of it. But yeah, if you go to the same place anyway so many times, you might as well use it because yeah, you might be getting scammed because the prices are slowly increasing because people are actually using the loyalty program. But I do wonder what so both Domino's and Tim Hortons and both use like 7 or 8 after 7 or 8 pizza or
Yeah,
Seven,
coffee.
X
after
amount
7 you get the
of-
8th one free or something like that. Or it's 6 then 7?
Oh.
I don't remember the exact number.
Yeah, I feel like they put the number at a
Domino's
certain
is
amount.
60 points. Domino's is 60 points,
yeah,
which
it's
is
gonna
10
be,
points per purchase
based
of
on the
$10 or
revenue.
more.
Yeah, it's either based on the revenue or it's like trying to get you to spend at least this amount to really feel like you've actually
That's what I was
return
going to
something.
bring up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, that and like, because the other competitor for coffee is McDonald's, and for those who aren't Canadian who don't know,
We'll go to McDonald's for coffee.
Tim
And what?
Hortons a while back. Okay, so here's the funny thing, right? Tim Hortons used to have the best, or one of the best coffees in Canada. You just go and buy for like $1. They got bought by Burger King, and then they lost
What?
their coffee bean distributor, and that got snatched up by McDonald's. So now McDonald's has some of the best coffee in Canada, and Tim Hortons has dirt water. So a lot of people will just go to McDonald's and pick up their coffee for $1 over Tim Hortons. But if you have 6 out of 7 coffees on your loyalty card, that drives a lot of people to think, oh, I could go to McDonald's, or I could drive like 1 minute further to Tim Hortons and pick up Tim Hortons coffee. That puts more revenue to Tim Hortons. And with like 30 million Canadians, a large chunk of which getting their coffee from Tim Hortons, a good amount of people are going to be doing that. They're going to be seeing, oh, I have some Tim Hortons loyalty points that I could get like I'm one away from a free coffee, so I'll just go to Tim Hortons. That's a lot of money, and it works. That's the worst part.
But McDonald's also is having a loyalty thing with their coffee, at least here.
Oh,
At least-
I forgot about that. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
McDonald's is the same, but
McDonald's
you
also
collect
does
the
it, yeah.
stickers. You collect the
no, it's
stickers,
also-
and then you
it's
stick
also
them
like
on the
Punch.
little card, and then
No, it's
it's a
Punch.
Punch now. Well, they're doing it all
Yeah.
through the app now, though. Everything is digital now.
Yeah.
I
don't know, I just remember
I
seeing
don't know how I
cards for
forgot about
coffee
that.
from
I
McDonald's.
have like 50 McDonald's free coffee stickers in my wallet. Every time I go to McDonald's, I just hand one in, and I have not paid for coffee in years. People buy coffees and they're like, "Do you want my stickers?" And I just collect them, and I have so many of them now. I don't know how I forgot about that.
Wait.
So McDonald's is the same thing. Shit,
Mm-hmm.
my whole analogy goes out the window.
It's fucking everywhere,
But
man.
then it's between McDonald's and Tim Hortons. Then it's like, oh, you have 7 stickers on McDonald's and like 5 on Tim Hortons. I guess I'm going to McDonald's. I don't know. Or like, oh, I already have the Tim Hortons app. I'm not going to install the McDonald's app to get their loyalty program. I already have to. That Tim Hortons app is a can of worms.
That's like the new age equivalent of, instead of having a physical card, you have to install a fucking app, and then you have to make an account as well for their thing.
And then that app like tracks your GPS and literally rats you back to fucking Tim Hortons HQ whenever you enter McDonald's.
Yep.
They got sued over it, and the reparations for that of a class action lawsuit is you get a free coffee and a free donut. I'm not even making. That's not a joke. That's not a bit. That's actually what you get
the fuck?
if you file for that suit.
Oh my god! What a way!
Ironic.
Yeah, but I noticed that as well with the gas station loyalty program. The app that I installed, first I had to make an account. Then the account doesn't even work abroad. So because I'm on the fucking border, I registered with a Belgium account, and I went to the Netherlands, and it's like, yo, bro, you cannot use the loyalty program in the Netherlands. Like, what the fuck you mean? It's like, you guys have gas stations every fucking where. Why shouldn't I be able to just go across the border and get those points there? But no, I guess that doesn't happen. I would have to make a separate account for that and earn points there. Not that I care, because in Belgium the gasoline is cheaper anyway, so I'm gonna go there anyhow. But yeah, it does track your GPS, because you can actually, when you go to the gas station, you don't have to put in your card. You can open the app, and the app does, based on GPS, it knows like, oh, you're at this gas station. Fill out your pump number. It's like, okay, pump number 6. Okay, cool. Which payment method do you want to use? And like, what's your refueling, like your max refueling amount? And then you can tap pay, and then you can pay directly through the app to then get gasoline from the pump, instead of actually using the terminal itself. Which that's pretty interesting technology, but it seems very complicated. Because what I just do, because I can only pay through credit card, which I'd rather not do, I just scan the fucking QR code. So it's still, your phone is just a glorified fucking pass, like a card. You scan the barcode, and then you fill in your payment information. You put in your card, your PIN, etc. So yeah, I don't really like the system. It's trying to do a lot of stuff like GPS, but I kind of wish I could just turn it off. But it doesn't really let you. It tries to force you to actually use that. Fucking dumb.
Well, they need your data. It's interesting they give you like an app with like an illusion of convenience. Oh, you just sit in your car, you punch in some numbers, and you don't even have to walk. You don't even have to open the door, walk around to the pump, and use that. You
Still
can just
to
sit in your car and
put the
you gotta,
nozzle in.
except you gotta like walk around to the pump anyways to put the nozzle in. Exactly.
Yep.
The difference though is that they collect your GPS, your frequency, your analytic patterns of how much gas you take, how many times where you go, and this and that, and they just sell it off to advertisers and they make money off of that.
Yeah, money. Money makes the world go around. You know what also goes around? Time. Around the clock. And speaking of time, I think we should be wrapping up the podcast because I think we've been going on for quite a while. I actually have to check. But I think we have a good conversation. Yeah, exactly. I think we had a good conversation. So some interesting topics that came along, some tangents or whatever. So before I sign off with the podcast, do you guys have any closing notes for the listeners, the viewers that are listening and watching to this? Starting with...
Do not invest in cryptocurrency.
And don't buy a Tim Hortons loyalty card. Oh.
Yeah, don't go to Tim Hortons. And if you do, don't buy their coffee. Their donuts are good. That's it.
Okay. And every podcast, we will try and murder one potential ad revenue or one sponsor. And just going to have no sponsors at the end of this. All right, Mirox. Any closing thoughts, closing words? Any sign off?
Not really, no.
All right. Nod?
Stay hydrated. Don't go a full day in VR without eating something. Or else there's something seriously wrong with you.
Yes. Good advice. Good advice.
Good advice for the average VR chat player.
Take a shower.
Touch grass.
Even better.
Go outside, go visit your family at some point. We've discussed this before.
Experience nature, fresh air.
Yep. Be human. Try and be real. Be real, says the people that are in VR chat. In virtual space.
Well, people in here feel it's more real than IRL at times.
Yeah, because people might be, looking at their phone. Even if they're in real life, they're still trying to connect with the virtual world, regardless.
Overlays are a thing.
Well,
not reality.
It might be like completely fake. These are all just pixels projected on the screen over the internet. But the connections you make to the people are real. Or at least I hope. You guys aren't like AI, right? Right?
You mean the internet connections? The internet connections are real?
No, maybe. My internet connection is only real 60% of the time. It used to be worse. Don't get Roger's internet. Any Canadians listening? I had to switch off that shit.
No, I think we can conclude. Just don't go to Canada. Just don't go to Canada. There you go. I saved all the sponsors from Canada. Are just gonna get roasted anyhow.
Not Quebec.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Especially. Don't go there. All right.
No, it's horrible here.
All right. Well, I think that's enough for the closing words. So I'm gonna say goodbye to the audience, and then you guys do a sign off after that. So I'd like to thank everyone for listening and watching the podcast. If you like it, then please leave a review or a comment, or send me a DM, or complain to your parents. I don't fucking know. Do whatever you want to do to get it off your chest. But with that, I would like to thank all our guests. So I'd like to thank Missing, Mirox, and Nod from being on the podcast. And again, I'd like to thank the listeners, and I'll see you until next time. Peace out.
Goodbye.
3.27.
Funny, just like grabbing him by the head, like, look at him, look at my boy.
This is your son. No, don't.
Oh, God.
Do it. Blow him up.
I like to blow up my pet Among Us for fun.
He was not the imposter.